Welcome in to Marvel Friends After Work, a podcast that talks about anything and everything related to the MCU. I'm Casey, my fellow hosts Nick and Joel, and today we're going to be jumping onto the topic, giving the spotlight to the villains of the MCU. We're going to be naming our top, probably about our top 5, but we all have a lot more than that probably. I had trouble making my list, but our top 5-ish favorite villains that we've liked through the MCU so far, especially with a lot of talk about some bigger villains coming in. Let's give a little spotlight to what are going to be smaller ones now. But before we jump into that, there was a little bit of news that came out. Now, especially with all the writer strikes and everything going on, things keep changing. So take everything with a grain of salt. But it said that there's supposed to be 5 special presentations in the works for the MCU, and they're all going to be about 90 minutes long. And they were listed to be Ghost Rider, Mephisto, Silver Surfer, Nova, and Sentry. What are your guys' thoughts on these? Which one are you most excited for?
My thoughts are, where is my Man-Thing origin story? I wanted Man-Thing, but that's fine. Otherwise,
you're saving him.
Give me all of them. Give me all of them. I'll take them all.
Yeah, go ahead, Casey.
If they put Man-Thing in now, it'd overshadow these 5. So
yeah. He'd be like way too cool. No one else would even care about any of the other presentations. Yeah. My thought was Feige must be listening to our show, because I don't know how many times on the show we have all said, be done with the TV shows and just move all of that into a special presentation, which from another rumor I saw, they are doing away with TV shows after the final 3 that they have already pretty much put in post-production, and they are now going to these presentations, and I'm super excited for Nova. Hopefully it drops this year, because that is my Hail Hydra, so that would be awesome.
I was curious. I was thinking it was Nova. I don't think that one's going to drop first. I kind of think Mephisto will first, because I think they want Mephisto with believe. Agatha.
Yeah.
Keep the spirit. Yeah.
But none of those special presentations are to be released this year, though.
That we know of.
They said they wouldn't be going into production until after the writer's strike. So unless they've already started one or they finished one, they just haven't released that information. But they let us know a month before Werewolf.
Yeah, 2 months. 2 months. I mean, there was rumors up to 8 months before, because I had Man-Thing as my Hail Hydra last year, so I was looking for any kind of come on, tell me he's gonna appear in something, and that was the rumor, and I was like, yes, he's coming. And then sure enough, as soon as the first trailer dropped for it, I was like, that's him right there. That's his goofy monster energy shaped face.
I truly don't think MCU can get away this year without doing a Halloween special or a Christmas special, and or both. I think they did such a good job last year on both of them. There's no way they can't try to get the cash grab in their eyes. And for us, it's we'll take another MCU project.
Where would you put it? I mean, October, Halloween. November are so smacked full.
Drop it on Halloween.
That's you got Loki and then Marvels and
can't
Echo.
Be right. But December, what's December hold right now? Nothing, right?
That's true.
So it would be like a Christmas special that comes out December 10th or something like that, in my opinion. I don't know what it would be. Hopefully it's kind of like Guardians of the Galaxy. Honestly, I don't need a new character for this one. Let's have a preview of a movie coming up. That would be great if it was Deadpool. Obviously, we would all love a Deadpool Christmas special. That would be amazing. But that won't be his first appearance. But we could get, I don't know, a Thunderbolts or something. I don't know. Something that plays into a movie that's supposed to be coming out in 2024. I think that'd be really fun.
So you think there could be a special this year, but you don't think it's one of these 5?
Correct.
It would make sense. How much do you think they spend on the special presentations compared to a 6 to 8 episode
has to be less,
series, right? I mean, Secret Invasion, they dropped a shitload of money, but even
most of that was on the acting or the actors.
Right. The actors. Yeah. But I mean, even with Miss Marvel, they had to have dropped a bunch of money on 6 episodes, right?
Definitely. Absolutely. Definitely.
Yeah. Compared
and it depends. The Guardians holiday special, they were able to save money and time by doing it on the set of the other Guardian movies they made. So
that's what we should have been doing. I hope they did that. I hope there's something.
Kang Kringle.
There we go. That's great, dude. I'll watch it.
It's not that bad. That could work. I'd like to see a Ghost Rider Christmas special. That'd be cute.
I think the Deadpool would be spot on. He's already wearing red.
Yeah. He's wanted to do the Christmas.
I don't really want another Christmas special without a Halloween special, but if there was going to be another Christmas special, Deadpool would be the one that I want to see.
Yeah. But Mephisto would be a great Halloween special.
Yep.
I mean,
it would make the
idea.
Ghost Rider.
Is Sentry? I keep forgetting the three main Kangs that they're talking about. I thought Sentry was one of them, or is that a different word? Or is that a different name? There was a name that sounded really similar to that, and I kept confusing the two.
Scarlet Centurion?
Maybe that's what I'm thinking. Yeah, that's it.
Sentry's like I don't want to say he's bipolar, but he's got mental issues for sure. He's got.
Isn't that who the Walking Dead guy is supposed to play?
That's what they say. I don't see it though, because Sentry's like, the way he's drawn in the comics is not anything like. He's like a white, super depressed alcoholic.
They're doing away with white people in the MCU right now, so anyone who's drawn white won't be white.
I mean, would you really want your representation to be the heavily alcoholic,
Irish people
personality guy?
They don't seem to care, I guess.
Yeah, and they'll probably change his whole character. I don't know. That's what they've done with a few things now.
I have no idea about the character Sentry, like at all. But like my first thought was, it sounds like a centaur, like a type of person, like a mutant who is like part centaur, part person. That's what I originally thought. Which would be cool.
Him in the Void. I don't remember his backstory except that like he abuses alcohol and he's got like this alternate personality called the Void, which is not good and just creates chaos and
So would you say most of these aren't they somewhat villains? I mean, Mephisto is. Silver Surfer technically isn't he? I mean, Nova's not, right?
Nova's not. Ghost Rider's not. Man-Thing's not.
But he's not on the list. Who was the fifth one? Who are we missing? What's the fifth one?
Sentry, and then there's Mephisto and Silver Surfer. But I guess my point was with Mephisto, Silver Surfer is the villain, right? Because he's in like Fantastic Four and he's like a villain there, right?
He's the Herald of Galactus, one of the Heralds of Galactus. So he kind of works for Galactus, but more because he's being forced to, not because he genuinely wants
to. He's not like a full villain. He's not a villain, in my opinion.
Well, fine. If he's not a villain, then let's talk about our top villains for the MCU that have already happened.
Look at that transition.
So it took me a while to get there.
I see what
you're saying. Do you guys want to start at the bottom of your list and go to the top, or do you guys want to start with your top one?
Mine are currently not ordered, so
that's fair enough. So why don't you just start us off? Give us like one of your top villains in the MCU.
Top. Honestly, I think Killmonger is one of my top favorite ones. I think just as a outright villain, he's not even like that. Like you can definitely see where he's coming from, right? He was born outside of the royal family, but he does have these rights, and he does beat the Black Panther in combat, so he does technically win. And as far as just tribal warfare goes, he does everything that he's supposed to do. He deserves to be king just on that basis, not because he's like the best guy or the best ruler or anything, but
he did things by the letter of the law, but not the spirit of the law.
I like that.
He had a great second appearance too in Wakanda.
What?
I said he had all right. I said he had a second great appearance in Wakanda Forever too, because that was an awesome moment where I had no idea he was going to be there, and I was very excited for that.
It was cool to see him.
It was the best person they could have put in that chair.
Right. I mean,
I didn't see it coming. I really didn't.
So. Me neither. I'll go next. I'm going to go with recency bias, and I'm starting on the lower end. High Evolutionary. This villain is outstanding, and he was terrifying in the movie. The actor that portrayed him was unbelievable. The stretched face was great. the way that he would blow up and just go from this calm demeanor to this like losing control of himself. It was such a fun villain to watch on the big screen, and I'm so excited that Rocket saved his life at the end. Not saved his life, but spared his life, I mean. And he hopefully he comes back, and hopefully we get another appearance.
Drax saved his life.
Oh no.
Well, Drax carried him out, but Rocket could have finished him off.
Rocket was the one who didn't finish him off, and
Rocket,
he's like, because we're the fucking Guardians of the Galaxy. Yeah, he
Drax,
spared his life.
Drax carried him off the ship.
Yeah. I said spared his life, not saved his life. Spared his life.
He spared his life, and then he was going to let him blow up on the ship. It's like, well, I didn't kill him. He died in battle. What are you going to do?
Right.
Either way, he could come back.
Yes, he could come back, and that's what I love, because most villains cannot come back unless there's
I feel like, Nick, your whole list is going to be all the villains that didn't die.
I can neither confirm nor deny that.
Because that is your big thing. You're like, they killed off another villain. Your list has got to be all the villains that made it through the MCU cut.
We'll follow up on that.
Okay, one of my top was actually Vulture from Spider-Man: Homecoming. Nice. I thought Michael Keaton is the name of the actor, right?
Keaton.
Yeah.
Keaton.
I thought
Batman.
I picked him as one of my top.
Batman that can't turn his neck.
Is it weird that he plays like two different type of birds? It's like Batman.
Well, that is not a bird.
He's also a flying.
It's a mammal.
A
mammal, and not
Joel coming at me with the science.
Joel has been on top of everyone with their. He's keeping us in line today, and that's what we need. That's what we need.
Because I'm drinking water. Yeah.
That is right. Oh, I love that.
Not chill.
I need you doing something else to not care as much. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I joined him in the role. I thought he played it well. It was just enjoyable to watch him in the role. He played it well. I thought him and Peter as characters played off well. I don't know. It was more of a person. I think most of my villains on my list are like just seem like regular people. And there's like a human factor to them, because sometimes we get so far in the villain, it's like they're nutso or they're crazy, which is fine, or they're alien, which is fine. But sometimes you relate more to somebody who's human, and I like that part. And I love the part in the car when he realizes Peter is Spider-Man, especially when like the traffic light turns that from green to red, or whichever way that was, red to green, something like that. But it was like a really powerful moment. So that's my top, one of my top.
Love it. Love it. That's everyone's one. Joel,
one of them.
That's one of the three. Yep.
One of the three. What's your next one?
Well, I mean,
who else gets spotlight today?
High Evolutionary on mine, but more because, I mean, he was a great villain. Like everything that Nick said, I think he was just fantastic to watch, enthralling to watch on screen, because he was just like very emotional with just his face and vocally, but then he tortured animals, so that puts him as a number one villain up there for sure. He's on my hit list for sure.
Oh, let's make this clear. Like,
I kind of wish
Thanos
Rocket could have killed him, but yeah, that's all right. I like villains to come back, but if anybody deserved it, the puppet kicker did for sure. Yeah.
It's the guy who like brutally kills animals. They're like, he can live, but if somebody like destroys half the universe, no, they're gone. Seems like our priorities are out of sort. I feel like the animals here.
I will
they
also
can't fight back.
Well, I mean, Rocket could. We should also preface this whole thing, because I don't know if anyone's going to actually put either of these guys on our list. At least I personally, and I believe we talked about it before, avoided Thanos in this. But maybe not. So someone might bring him up. But like, if everyone's like, how is Thanos not immediately the number one person everyone's talking about? It's because it's too easy. It's too low of hanging fruit.
The big bag of the whole.
Yeah. Obviously,
I'm gonna drop
badass.
The most unpopular opinion. I don't really care about Thanos or like the character that much.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't have put him on my list in the first place. Okay. Because without the stones, I get it. They go, well, he was really strong and stuff even without the stones. Yes, but I didn't really see him do anything besides punch, I don't know, some guys, or seem like a leader. Like,
he kicked Hulk's
I don't know. He was told, it was like told to us that he is a threat and a bad person, but we never really saw him do anything, especially not without the stones. And so I guess for me as a villain, it wasn't relatable. It was just like, oh yeah, he's a villain because they told me he was.
I think he
Not
crushed
because
the
I felt
Hulk
like he
without
earned the title.
using any of the stones, though.
He
I
also
think that
killed
was
like
straight
all of
hand-to-hand combat.
Asgard on that
had
plane
one of
and
'em.
destroyed that plane.
And he had his soldiers kill a bunch of people before he had any.
We don't have to debate. Like, we don't have to change Casey's mind.
That's right.
She doesn't want Thanos on her damn list. That's okay. That's all right.
My damn list, Joel.
That's right,
He had a
Joel.
nutsack for a chin.
He had a nutsack for a chin. My number 2 is sticking with a little bit of recency bias post Endgame, yet also before Endgame, before the MCU. Bringing back William Dafoe as Green Goblin in Spider-Man No Way Home was one of the best villains I've ever witnessed in the MCU. The way Dafoe brought everything he had, his laugh, his facial expressions, the want that he had to be there, the idea that he did all his own stunts and they were badass stunts, him and Tom Holland fighting, like just everything about Green Goblin. I can't even do the laugh, but he was amazing. It was amazing. It was great, not only because he's an awesome villain, but because it brought my childhood from me being 13 years old or whatever, however old I was when this Spider-Man first came back. Like, it was so full circle. The villain itself wasn't brought back and poorly written or brought back and poorly executed or acted. It was amazing. Every one of the villains that was in that movie could have made this list. Honestly, they were all amazing coming back, but William Dafoe took the cake. It's the best acting in that movie. Tom Holland was an amazing actor in that movie. I never would have said Tom Holland was an amazing actor after any of the first 4 appearances we got from him, 6 appearances, however many times he was in these movies. Once we got No Way Home, you could see the evolution of Tom Holland, but even more so, you could see why William Dafoe has been and always will be one of the best actors in the world. And it was so great to see him as Green Goblin back. I loved it, and I want more of it.
I wrote him down. I didn't put him in my top mainly because I didn't feel like I had enough screen time with him to like for the MCU part to like have him on my list. I agree. I thought his acting was phenomenal. Almost the scene for him that put him on like the top radar for me as like a really good villain was when Peter sensed that something was changing in the room. And that was great acting on Peter's part, but it was also William Dafoe, is that what you said? Mm-hmm. It was also in his, like, that's a 2-part scene. Like, both characters had to pull that off, and he did so evilly great. It was perfect.
It was, yes,
so good.
Was. Yeah.
No one can like smile like that guy.
That's why it's the greatest. Dude.
Speaking of his smile, I think he like intentionally wore veneers or something to change character between Norman Osborn and the Green Goblin. Very like his actual teeth are a little bit, they're not perfect,
right?
Whereas Norman Osborn had the full veneers to have that perfect smile. So when you see him back in that, it just adds to that.
That's cool. I didn't even realize that. I love that.
It's cool. I like it. Is it my turn to go?
It is, Casey.
It is.
I had Hela on my list as one of my top. Same. I just thoroughly enjoyed her performance. I think they could have done more with it. I think they kind of like kept her character kind of on reins, and I think they should just let it go a little bit more. But I enjoyed all her scenes. I liked her bantering with her siblings per se. I thought that was great. Her acting was like top notch, and it was funny, but it was kind of like serious, and you felt like she was a threat, but at the same time she was human. She brought a human element to it that some of the other characters don't, and again, I think that's why she made my list.
Yeah, Kate Blanchett, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, as soon as she comes into the screen, she destroys Mjolnir.
Also, she gave us one of the best memes of all time with Taiki Waititi, whatever his name is, looking up at her. And it's the meme. I've seen so many of them, but one of the best ones is me describing to my powerful wife why I should buy another Lego set. It's just Waititi looking up at Hela, who is just like looking down on him with this grimacing look. And you're just like, that is me. That is how my life goes monthly, weekly.
Yeah, daily. Taika let her go wild in that movie too. I mean, she killed all the Warriors 3 just like and they're dead. Didn't even give them a ceremony.
broke the
Yeah.
hammer.
I mean, she was slightly over the
Stroke
top,
Mjolnir.
but it like worked.
Mm-hmm.
It was great.
She had her.
You guys see the
undead
rumor that he's
wolf.
going to be directing number 5 for Thor?
Yeah, apparently
Bring him
that
back, baby. He did good in 3. It's all right. Number 4 is the better upon rewatch. I'm excited that he's back. I like it.
Nah, apparently that was a rumor though, because they were
Yeah,
using a quote from like a book that he wrote or something that he wrote like a couple years ago. Yeah,
hopefully. Fingers are.
But I'm for it. Yeah, bring him back. Give me a 5. Give me a 5
back.
and a 6. I don't care.
I'd kind of like to see what he would do.
I don't care.
I'd kind of like to see what he would do. I loved 3. 4 wasn't that great. I'd kind of like to see what he would do with another movie. Like,
me too.
I think he knows it got a little too silly, and so I think he would bring it back and balance it a little bit. So I'd really like to see what he could do because 3 was great.
Or he'd really lean into the silliness and go even more over the top.
I don't think Chris Hemsworth will let him.
Maybe not. I don't know. Who knows?
Personally,
bring Hela back. Let's see her butt from behind. For it. We got to see Thor's ass.
Oh, I see it. Yeah, I mean,
even it out.
All right, yeah, let's even that out. It took me a minute. Woo! I was like, we are not on your OnlyFans right now, Joel. We are
like, are you? You need to either drink something stronger than water, or that water's too strong. One or the other.
It's pure vodka.
Too much energy right now. Too much energy. Speaking of energy, you know who's made of energy? Ultron. I know not a lot of people were big fans of him, but I love James Spader's voice for the character and everything, and I thought
it was good.
He's a good menacing character. I think throughout the movie they didn't make him that menacing. They didn't make him do as much as he could have done, but he's AI, so he could very easily be brought back, and I would love to see him come back.
He didn't get to do a lot because it was only the weekend of Ultron.
Right. Weekend of Ultron. I mean, he did come back in What If, and he definitely kicks some ass in What If, becomes the ultimate Ultron or superior Ultron, whatever they called him.
Infinity Ultron.
Infinity Ultron.
And what an amazing transition to my number 3, Infinity Ultron. He was so fucking badass in What If. That show was like, okay, cool. We're getting like some different views on things. This is kind of fun. The Watchers just kind of walking us through everything, and it's like, oh, this is a good show. It's a good show. And then you start to get like, Doctor Strange's death episode. You're like, well, that's kind of dark. And then you get some zombies. And you're like, well, that's pretty cool. And then Ultron just breaks through everything, goes and finds the Watcher, finds the Infinity Stones, just kills everything. It took that show from like a cartoon kids show almost to this amazing show that like blew my mind. It was one of the best endings to a series from the MCU. So much so was written on just the back of Infinity Ultron and how badass Ultron should have been if he wasn't trying to go up against the Avengers and Kevin Feige was trying to establish the Avengers. If he was a later villain, we could have got a lot more out of him, in my opinion. He was great. Ultron himself is number 10 on my list of top 10, but number 3 is number 1 actually, I'm sorry, is Infinity Ultron. I loved that villain. Just a different. It was just different. The only cartoon villain, and it's great. And they did such a good job on it.
It was voiced by the same person, right?
Robert Spader, or that's
James Spader.
Thank you, James Spader.
Yeah, you got the last name right. You get half the points.
I'll take it.
Okay, my other top 3 would have been. I kind of had like a tie with 3 people, mainly because their stories haven't ended yet, and so it's kind of hard to like nail down this villain when there's still a lot to be told. I had it between Wanda, Dormammu, and King. Yeah. I liked all of them for all different reasons, but their story arcs aren't done yet, so I'm not like just gonna pick one. I'm really we only saw a very little bit of. I gotta say it again. Dormammu. There's my slur coming out. Dormammu. That's what I'll say. Dormammu.
His son in the comic run of Doctor Strange's Academy school, and it's like the school, basically like the House of Strange Academy. Dormammu's son is like the leader of the group of kids there, and he like has to fight his dad in the run, and it's super cool. It's super interesting very, very fun read. I cannot wait until they make like a movie of that series because they will, and it's going to be great. Just,
But I'm
random tidbit.
hoping to see more of it because it's a very like different type of villain. It was like it almost just looked like a blob. Like you couldn't even understand what it was. But like even Doctor Strange, he really couldn't defeat it. There's nothing they could actually do to stop it. But he was able to, to use smarts and trick him out of it. But I'm really curious. I want to see more of that, and I hope they go back to him and use him more. Which kind of looked like that's where Cleo was taking Strange to the dark dimension. It kind of looked like so.
What did
that idea?
He made like a treaty with him. He's like, all right, so if you go away, I'll release you from this time loop, right?
If you leave my world away, if you leave my world alone,
leave my world alone.
I'll let you out of the time loop.
Go burn somebody else's house down. Yeah.
Then he left him. Yeah. It's kind of just where they left him. And I want them to do more with it because it seems like it's kind of like the Darkhold to me. Like those are two avenues. Like the dark dimension, the Darkhold are like two things that seem really powerful and cool, especially early on in the MCU. And they just kind of like never fully have like embraced it or touched it or explained it. I'm like, this seems really deep. I want us to go deeper into it to find out what it is. But so far they haven't.
I just added a villain to my list, Chthon. I want him to be in there. That's the dude who wrote The Darkhold. So they could like go back and show the beginning of all that. I want to see that. It's like a Lovecraft character.
My honorable mentions, if that's okay.
I want to hear
everyone. Yeah. I had a top 10. We've had 5 already. The 3 I said, Killmonger was on there. Ultron was on there. Number 4, Zemo. Fucking loved Zemo. He's the best.
It's a lot of fun.
Number 5, I know the movie wasn't great, but Gore was a phenomenal villain, and Christian Bale did an amazing job portraying him. Number 6, Namor. No, maybe recency bias, but it was an awesome villain, an awesome acting job. I don't know if he's going to be back. He's in trouble. We'll see what happens, but that was a really good portrayal. Number 7, I think I'm in Kingpin. Not so much just because of Hawkeye, but because of his Daredevil run. But just we love what's the name of the actor, Joel?
Vincent D'Onofrio.
Thank you. He's awesome. We love him. Everybody loves him. Number 9, I did not have Kang. I had He Who Remains as my variant of Kang to be on
villain.
Yeah,
is he a villain?
Yeah, I would absolutely say he was a villain, and I think he's a better villain than Kang was. Kang, I didn't even put in my top 10. That's how bad he fucking was, guys.
I had him on my list. I had Kang on my list, but he didn't really make the list because I don't know where the character was going.
Yeah.
The performance was outstanding, and if the performance would continue like that in all of his films, movies he was in, it makes the watching experience so great. Because all the scenes he was in, the backflashes he was in, it like drew your attention. And that says something about the character if it draws your attention that much.
Don't you think that He Who Remains like drew your attention more? Like when we saw him and him smiling and being all crazy and knowing what's going to happen and jumping from here to there. I liked that more than the Jonathan Majors. Like, I think High Evolutionary did a better job than Jonathan Majors did, whatever the actor is, at the emotional parts. I thought He Who Remains was so great. It was so... It just made Loki. It made Loki the best TV series because of him, in my opinion.
I agree. I just don't see him as a villain yet. We haven't really seen him do anything other than control the TVA.
Touche. Anyone else had any other honorable mentions they didn't get to mention?
I only had Wanda, but I didn't like they turned her into a villain, but I thought she played a really good villain.
So we didn't mention Loki. We didn't mention Shang-Chi's Zhu Wenwu. I don't know. Wenwu. I don't know how to say that. The Mandarin, we didn't mention him. Ironmonger, Ego didn't get mentioned. Icarus didn't get mentioned. And Arthur Harrow.
I was going to say, for the Eternals, I wasn't even sure, like...
His Icarus. They all had to fight Icarus at the very end. He was absolutely
I was like, who was the villain? The big Celestial coming out of the earth?
Come on.
Or like...
No, it's Icarus. And he was a good villain. He should be on the list. He was a really good... It was a good portrayal. Oh, calm down.
So... that was our highlight reel for our villains for the week. I'm sure we'll get more highlights of them because, as you've seen, we can't pick a favorite and we have a lot to talk about them. But I guess that's it for this week. So we'll see you guys next week. Please jump on into the social. You can find us on Instagram. Did it mess me up?
Yeah.
No, you're good. I can hear you. Yeah, keep going. Yeah.
You can find us on Instagram. You can find us on Reddit. You can find us on Twitter, especially Twitter Live. And you can find us on YouTube. And we are not a sketchy YouTube channel. We just don't have any subscribers yet. So subscribe.